Kean has always been an urban institution. This is a legacy that we've inhabited all of our lives. The difference now is designating this urban mission.
This is Urban Impact, a podcast where we examine the complex issues facing urban communities through meaningful conversations with scholars, community leaders, and others who are driving change. I'm Dr. Lamar Repollet, the president of Kean, New Jersey's Urban Research University. This is Urban Impact.
Hello, I'm Barbara George Johnson, and welcome to Urban Impact. I am the Vice President of the John S. Watson Institute for Urban Policy and Research at Kean University, as well as the Vice President for External Affairs.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm Mike Salvatore, the Senior Vice President of Administration here at Kean University, and I look forward to the conversations we're going to have about the important issues in urban communities. Today, I'd like to welcome our guest, the Provost and Senior Vice President of Academic Affairs at Kean University, Dr. David Birdsell. Welcome to Urban Impact.
I'm delighted to be here, Barbara and Mike. Looking forward to this conversation.
David, I'm going to eventually call you Dr. Birdsell at some point because that's just what I do.
Oh, please don't.
But David, as Provost of the institution, can you tell us what urban research means to you? We know that Kean University just received the Urban Research Designation. It's the first designation in the state of New Jersey, and we're excited to be that campus and provide that research opportunity for the state. So share a little bit with me about your thoughts on that.
Well, in the broadest sense, urban research means finding out more about the urban experience, about the challenges faced in urban areas, about the interventions that make the biggest differences in those areas, and how we begin to bring people into those conversations. I think it's important for an institution like Kean on several dimensions. The first is what I just alluded to. We don't know enough about the challenges that we face in urban areas, whether we're talking about the provision of healthcare, the transmission of disease, the ability to educate a population, the ability to create resilient areas with regard to climate, with regard to economics, et cetera, how we stimulate economic opportunities for broad constituencies throughout urban areas in the United States, but particularly here in northern New Jersey. So that first point is just the acquisition of knowledge and improving our understanding of urgent needs. Second, however, is being able to provide our students with a lens that elevates their own experience. So most of our students come from urban areas, these very same areas in which we're situated, in which we're studying. And when we say that understanding more about those experiences, about those places, about those people is important, we elevate the students themselves. And finally, number three is that we give the students an opportunity to participate in and shape that research so that we're responding to questions that they're asking. We're responding to urgencies that they feel in their families and communities. And that, again, is empowering. It builds their own sense of efficacy that they can actually make a difference in these environments and discover things that even their professors have yet to discover themselves. Bringing them aboard as full-fledged partners in these arrangements makes a real difference in people's ability to learn and the way that they project their efficacy into careers beyond their collegiate experience.
You and I have talked a lot about this signature experience for students coming in. What does this new legislative designation as urban research really mean?
Well, I think that the legislative designation and the governor's signature of on that bill conveys the importance in the minds of our elected leadership about understanding the kinds of urban experience that we're facing, the challenges that we're facing. So all praise to Governor Murphy for recognizing, all praise to the legislators who sponsored this bill for recognizing the importance of designating an institution in New Jersey whose explicit mission it is to understand these dynamics. So that's terrific. This is also a tremendous compliment to Dr. Repollet's leadership, to his ability to embody for the state and in the legislature and in the governor's office, the ability to lead an institution toward these kinds of urgent urban exigencies that we can now better understand at Kean University. The contrast with Kean in the past is really a matter of framing and direction, because Kean has always been an urban institution. We were founded, of course, in Newark, New Jersey, and moved here only in the middle of the 20th century. So that's This is a legacy that we've inhabited all of our lives. The difference now is designating this mission and allowing ourselves to reframe our research activity, many of our academic programs, our public service activities in the context of this urban mission. It's important for Union. It's important for Northern New Jersey. It's important for the entire state. And I would argue, as we think about the peculiar characteristics of urbanicity in Union County, one of the densest counties in New Jersey, not quite so much so as Essex, but right behind, and how this comports with urban studies that have focused more on central business districts in truly enormous cities, such as New York, just to our north and east. These are places that are less well understood and where we have a lot more opportunity to make up that gap of knowledge, and Kean will be right at the front of that proposition.
I should have started with this too. For listeners out there, just make sure you have a thesaurus or a dictionary when David speaks, because there's a few words there you might learn and might start to integrate into your own everyday conversation. So Barbara, you're up.
It's part of the higher education lexicon, right?
It sure
so we're going
is.
to take people along on this ride with us. Let me ask you a little bit about the uniqueness of an urban institution, right? So are we pigeonholing ourselves? Some will say that New Jersey is a garden state, that there are over 500 plus suburban municipalities in addition to the 60 or 100 plus urban municipalities. So would you be concerned about the university sort of pigeonholing itself in this sort of urban space? If not, then how do we utilize that urbanism, as you just described, to really have impact?
Excellent questions. And I must say, I'm really not worried about narrowing the focus so that we're perceived to be sort of a one-trick pony of a university. And there are several reasons for that. One, if you look at the diversity of urban environments, even before we move beyond those environments, there's so much to process, so much to look at. If we look at the migration patterns that are unique to Union County and to Northern New Jersey, if we think about the concentration of, for example, recent Colombian, Central American, and other South American migrants over the course of these last 25, 30 years, it's a wonderful opportunity to understand diasporic populations that are understudied and that gets us beyond our geography neatly understood right here in Union County. But it's also the case that cities do not exist by themselves. They need to have local farming communities. Now, that's not to say that we can't have urban agriculture that can provide fresh vegetables and other produce for consumption within that urban environment. But at scale, we rely on transportation networks. We rely on water systems. We have to make sure that we provide people in the city with all of the things that come from outside of the city. So when we're thinking about urban life, we're thinking about a broader ecology and economy of cooperation and of utility that is produced not necessarily only in the city. It might be realized there, it might be catalyzed there, but it extends beyond and draws from a much larger region. To your point, Barbara, New Jersey is an incredibly diverse state. And if we look principally at the much more agricultural regions in the south of the state, as we look to the forested regions in the west of the state, all of this harmonizes with an approach that necessarily involves urban New Jersey. And remember, we are the most densely populated and most urban state in the United States of all 50. So this designation doesn't pigeonhole us at all. It's really something that allows us to bounce off of our characteristics and our special mission to talk about the entire length and breadth of human experience in the Garden State.
Thank you for listening to our first episode of Urban Impact, featuring Kean University Provost Dr. David Birdsell. Dr. Birdsell's conversation was so interesting that we decided to split it into two different parts. We can't wait to share part 2 with you. In fact, here's a preview.
Research can't be a matter of the ivory tower sort of marching into a place, dropping in from on high, and telling people what their lives are about. We have to involve the people we're studying in that work and make sure that those underrepresented communities are peopling our classrooms and are building the scholarly resources to become the agents of change and understanding for themselves.
Thank you for listening to Urban Impact, a podcast produced by Kean, New Jersey's Urban Research University. Subscribe, rate, and review wherever you get podcasts. For more information, visit kean.edu/urban-impact.